I want to talk to you about a wonderful thing. It's called the web of knowledge, and much of this is the web of science. Now, if you're an academic or you're an undergraduate and you have access to it, you may already be using it and be well aware of it. Although it's perfectly possible that you are, in fact, an undergraduate at a university, and despite the fact that you do have access to this amazing resource, it hasn't been made clear to you and you haven't been making good use of it, in which case I recommend that you do. Now, what it is a huge number of scientific papers accessible on the web, and they are cross-referenced both forwards and backwards in time. So, for instance, you look at a paper, you read it, and you can see that it's cited lots of other scientific papers. There are all the references of all those other papers. And you can click on them. They've got little links, and bing, there's that paper that it's cited. And not only does it go backwards in time, showing that this paper got its knowledge from all these papers back in time, but also if someone later writes another paper that cites the one you were reading, then the one you're reading will say cited by, and you can click on that and then see all the articles that cite that paper. So it's cross-referenced forwards and backwards in time. It's wonderful, and you can do a huge amount of research very, very quickly on this, because you don't need to wander around libraries or ordering journals through interlibrary loans. No, instead, just with a couple of clicks, you've got that other article, and the next one, and oh, he cites him, and oh, he doubts him. What did he have to say? Click, and you're there. It's wonderful for checking facts and finding out about scientific stuff. Now, it comes from the Science Citation Index, which was something that was created by a man called Eugene Garfield just after the war. And of course, with modern computers, so much more can be done. This coincided with people like Robert Maxwell. There were others, but Robert Maxwell was perhaps chief among them, who noticed that there was a niche in the market. There was an explosion of scientific publication after World War II, and there were all these academics all around the world working, already being paid by universities, who were just desperate to get themselves published. And so he could get them to contribute articles to his journals for free, and then sell those journals for a high price back to the universities that employed those academics. What a wheeze! Now, today, the Web of Knowledge is owned by a company called Thomson-Reuters. You may know Reuters, the news agency. Well, it's part of that same group. And yeah, this is where I stop enthusing about it and start criticizing it. You see, I did some research a while back about why so many news reports about science are so bad, and they read a lot like press releases. Well, that's because they're taken largely from press releases. Why? Well, because the BBC journalists don't have access to the web of knowledge. I checked this. I did some primary research. I rang around. I spoke to the top person in Thomson-Reuters about this, and after doing lots of phoning around, I spoke to the actual person at the BBC who was involved in the same negotiations with Thomson-Reuters, and it seems that they did not come to an agreement, which is why so many journalists just regurgitate the words from press releases. And a lot of those press releases, of course, come from companies with a vested interest in something being thought that, unfeasible or really great or whatever. And that's a great loss, don't you think, for the public knowledge and understanding of science? So why doesn't Thomson-Reuters sell the right of access to the web of knowledge to the BBC? Well, for reasons I don't completely understand, the policy is that they will only sell, not to individuals, but to large organisations, and these have to be sort of august organisations for some reason. And the BBC didn't particularly want to spend a large amount of money buying the right for everyone in the BBC, right the way down to the cleaners, to have unlimited access to the web of knowledge. They just wanted, the researchers and the journalists, the people who obviously would benefit from access to this, to have that access. And so no agreement was reached, and the BBC does not have access to the web of knowledge. And in fact, very few people do. About 97% of people, in fact, in this developed nation, from which I'm speaking to you now, don't have access. Only 3% of that privileged intellectual elite, the academics and so forth. So isn't that a shame? Some while ago, knowledge was democratized quite a bit by the arrival of public libraries, and governments and local councils and so forth paid for everyone to have access to so much more knowledge through public libraries. Well, today on computers so much more can be done. Don't you think it would be better if everyone could just check the facts. Having an argument about, I don't know, climate science or something, here's the scientific paper.